Alright, this is stirmi, male, from Rick's. Hey, rescue spider, if ever there was one. I got him. Now let's get him home. Seems to be in great health. Very nice tea. I guess she had a few. Took her a little while to get him into that cup. But, he's in there pretty good. Car's air conditioned. Closures in the back. Wasn't quite thrilled about it, but, it's not quite as good as Terra Blue, but it's perfectly serviceable. So, let's get you home, my friend. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very happy occasion. The unboxing of Theraphosa stirmi, arguably one of the largest spiders in the world, with a three-way tie with Theraphosa blondie and Theraphosa apophysis. Blondie's the record holder, but these guys are big. This spider was from Rick's Fish and Pet. It cost $115. I think it's a confirmed male. I don't know how it's first, having seen it for a while. The book lungs in front are very small. They're tapered, and unfortunately, the container is too opaque to get a good ventral shot. It's a shame it wasn't. Now, let's look at what they're in. Okay. Now, you might be wondering. What is that string doing here? That string is on pieces of tape. And what you do when you take the lid off is you detach it, but you don't remove it. That way, when you close the enclosure, you can let the spider out without any undue signs of panic. You can see here, it doesn't injure the spider in any way. So let's get it on. Here she is, Miss America, or Miss, well, I shouldn't say that. You're a dude. All right. I'll put this on top of the versicolor cage. Probably the most nightmarish thing he's seen in his entire life. And this is a zoom-in enclosure. It's okay. Not as much of a fan of it as the Terra Blue. It's a little little bit of a step down. But what we're going to do is let's see, the lid is off. Green pipe. You put the strings like this, and you orient the thing down like so. The lids can come straight off. That lid can pull straight off, and if he panicked, he could probably kick it off, but he won't, because he doesn't know it can move yet. Okay. Now, what we'll do, we'll just move. This isn't really working very well. Yeah, we'll put this back here. I'm going to finish undoing it a little bit stickier than I thought. Alright, now take two. Now I'm seeing the best laid plans with mice and men go awry. Now take two. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Oh, for Christ's freaking sakes. How the hell did this happen? Oh, that's right, because it's not. That's right, you have to tie these damn things in loops. Oh, shoot, I skipped a step. So you have to loop the damn things first, and then you can just take the damn tarantula out of the enclosure. How about doing this the simple way? There we Just put him here. He can come out whenever he wants and stay in there for, the next 10 years if he wants to. And we'll just call it that. We'll just call it this way in there. What you have to do when you do a string like that is it has to loop back on itself. You have to tie it so it's a circle. Otherwise it just pulls through. That's not because the idea doesn't work, it's because I skipped a step. So we will see what he does. And there he is. Tiny. See what happens. I guess it's always interesting to shoot, when stuff goes, well. I mean, if I was dishonest, I would just put the thing back on there and run it again, But, this is live television. That's how it is. And so that's how we'll do it. So what I'm going to do, I guess I'll take the phone out of the holder. And we'll get a look, and this is a good looking guy. He's definitely a very, very nice looking tee. I could really see why Arachnoclown likes these. And it's the damnedest thing. The phone looks kind of washed out brown, but when you actually look at them, it's, it has it's just a wonderful, like a suede, rich leather chair sort of kind of a brown color. So, a really interesting spider. The enclosure, basically it's a zoom ed. Nice, not quite as nice as Terra Blue, but it is what it is. It's the same basic thing that I always do. The thing has turned out to be more of a utilitarian looking kind of thing. It hasn't really it didn't turn out as pretty as I thought it would be or as I wanted it to be. So Okay, now this is where things go wrong. Do we take the thing out? Sure. Why not? The show must go on. And there we go. Theraphosis stirmi. Okay. Here he is exploring around. Let's see what he's doing. Now he's looking pretty good. Definitely having a good time. So we have to take these things. You can take these. What you do with these is you can take them and you can flip them up. Okay, and then you do that, you can sort of get a shot of your tarantula a little bit better. I don't know. So he looks good. Oh my. Remember that scene in Rocky when it's like, dude, is he that big? And his coach is like, he's sitting down. He's fighting like Drago, that Russian guy. Man, that's like what we're dealing with here. Oh my God. Oh my holy man. God, I'm glad I got this taller cage and I didn't put more substrate in it than I did. Look at this. I mean, I don't know if the abdomen is kind of, it's either completely bald or it's been kicked. There, now why the hell, now why are we climbing? Okay, he's probably been in the closet. He's probably cold because it's cold in here. And, you know, dude, your heat pad is by your water dish, man. You're headed the wrong way. But, you know, this is interesting. Okay, he's a little sensitive to airflow, a little bit more nervous. Definitely more nervous than the Kluge Justina is. I mean, she just ignore that. Okay, they seems to get desensitized quickly. Interesting little guy. Interesting individual. See how they react to, see what the temperament is, see how, is he sensitive to flashing, is he, let's see how panicky he is. Didn't really, no, this guy is not easily intimidated. Doesn't care, doesn't run, sits there, you know, exploring it. He's freezing, like, I don't know what's going on here, but you know, he's not running. He's certainly not doing what my H. pulchripes would be doing, which would be like running figure eights around everything. Probably would have found what's underneath. So, you know, definitely a bold spider. So what we're going to do is wait and see when it goes over to the water dish and the little cork bark thing, so that way, you know, it can drink and keep its book lung, you know, he can drink and keep his book lungs out of the water. By the way, his name is officially Tiny. I think that, you know, no. His name's Mini-Me. Yeah, I think Mini-Me is highly appropriate for the largest spider in the world. I just think that's incredible. So Mini-Me, welcome home. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is a video, you know, that I'm doing on the subject of cross ventilation and fish tanks. You can't cross ventilate a fish tank. You can't move air into a fish tank and out of a fish tank. Now, what's wrong with this statement? Marine aquarists, freshwater aquarists have been doing this for probably 100 years. And there are ways to do that. You can have a little fan blowing air, just pulling air out, or a tube from an aquarium, like a little pump. If you have an acrylic tank, put a stone in, make a little hole, stick a little diffuser stone through the hole, stick a tube on the other end, some sort of fitting, and run air in. Use the lowest setting. Okay? If you move air in, air will come out. See, to achieve cross ventilation, the amount of exchange is infinitesimally small. It's imperceptible. It's not even enough to move a speck of dust or human hair. You know, it's not, if you have your holes drilled in your Hobby Lobby thing, you know, 4 on each side and some, you know, at the top or whatever, that's great for you probably, you know, or 4, 8, you've achieved plenty of cross ventilation. I mean, you know, looking at the spider through this glass isn't interesting, but you know, you just have to make sure that the air isn't stagnant and still. The best way to do this, and I've did quite a few experiments, is to use temperature difference. As we all know, hot air rises, cold air sinks. So if we heat up, if we have a tank with a hot side and a cold side, the air's going to move, and plastic sheet over most of it in the center, air will move. How does this work? Okay. You have your heat source. Your hot air rises, a gap. This is your happy spider. Cold air sinks. Now, the amount of motion in here, sadly enough, does not achieve escape velocity from the Earth's orbit, okay? It's not rocket science. You just move it. You can take a fan. I did my last video on using gauges, staying informed, how to remove humidity from a tank. So what does this actually look like? And this is one of the reasons why Mini-Me was sitting in the cabinet for quite a few hours to screw around with this and get it to work. As you can see, and we've seen this before, you have a screen with plastic sheeting on top of it to hold in humidity. We've seen this before. John 3800 does it. He does. What we see here is the cold side. Air goes down here, travels across here, and comes out here. This is the actual little heat thing. It's very, very low. And air rises through here. Okay? And you can see people don't like to use gauges even though they don't hurt anybody. Lo and behold, we have 74 degrees on the cold side, 89% humidity, no mist condensation. Now in this tank, the top layer of cocoa fiber that I put in is barely misted there. You can see the other layers of substrate are, they have a lot more moisture in them. So this vermiculite is really wet, and that's a little bit wet, and that's a little bit moist, and that's a little bit dry. And I did this because I lost another spider, and I felt, Balfouri, I felt that mold that I didn't see might have played a role. I can't prove it. So, this stuff, cocoa fiber, feels nice, but it's spongy, and this other stuff drains well. And peat is really good at mold resistance. So I just did it that way. You don't need to, but, just to see how the cage works. Okay. So this is what it looks like. That's this happy spider. And, I figured I'd just share a little bit. In fact, it's up to 90. Okay. 74. And you can see it's perfectly clear. And if let's say we have too much humidity, well, you could take your plastic, okay, and you can just roll it back. It's taped. Oh, still too much humidity. You can take your plastic, roll it back. Oh, crap, I put too much water in the dish. You can take your plastic, okay, and roll it back. And now we have an open top. We can add water, whatever you need to do, or try to photograph a spider through a screen, and this is a bonded screen. You can take you can't take a piece of thread and get it between the options here. So we'll put this back. Okay, and just put it back, and you can see you can control your humidity. Clear plastic, clear tape. Now, if you pull this pin and lift and move this, you can see the whole thing comes out. Okay, goes back in. Stick the pin in. It's a little stiff. Zoom in. It's not as good as the Reptilock system. And you can see that's how this enclosure works. It's very, very simple. Again, the actual air exchange, the actual volume of air that does this, it probably exchanges maybe every day. I'd be surprised if it was every day. It's probably every 2 or 3 days. But you're fine. Nice temperature. See, because, as you can see, it went down because I opened the plastic. You can see it dropped to 76. It's going back up. So, guys, I'm not accusing anybody of saying anything, but use common sense. It's basic science. This is stuff that you learned in 2nd grade. Okay. Anyway, so hopefully I stimulated some thought and kind of maybe help some people out, make you think a little bit. Anyway, this is White Lightning 777 out.